Hey everyone, this is your host Vic Hill, and welcome to the 83K Way podcast. Today we're speaking with Hedy Wong, longtime friend of mine, actor, producer, writer, and a lead in The Takeout Girl, a movie that just premiered on Hulu. Check out the interview and let me know what you think. All right, Hedy Wong.
Vic.
I have known you for 10 years now.
Yep.
And
when you had dreads. I had my lace front, remember?
You did. I wasn't going to mention my dreads. A lot of people have not seen that part, but I'm very glad that you're here. Over the 10 years, I've seen so much, right? So you started at a certain area, and now you're where you are. Mm-hmm. So I just want to start off by kind of you introducing who you are, not to me, of course, but to everyone else.
Okay, well, my name's Hedy Wong. I am originally from the Bay Area. I've been in LA for many years now. My latest project that's out already, Takeout Girl, it's a feature film. It's currently on a lot of platforms like Apple TV, iTunes, Amazon Prime, YouTube for rent or purchase. I'm the lead in it, producer and co-writer.
It's a lot of titles.
It's, you know what I'm saying? I practiced that last year during the film festival circuit.
Nice. So a lot of people, they'll hear that and immediately get intimidated, or they'll have this assumption that you started off with connections, or you're in LA, so you're on some type of pedestal or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or they'll go the opposite route. We won't get into that. But the purpose of the 83K really is to discuss everything that happened before you got to where you're at, mm-hmm. That transition to where you are now, and where you're going, right? So 10 years ago, we can go before that.
Man, what was I doing?
Yeah, what were you up to?
We met at a it was a BT after party, or I was working that event with my friend Shania. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Shania, she's in Michigan now. I
had just got an award and we were all celebrating. It was a good night.
It was a good night. Shania put me near the ice cream stand, like the thing, so I was handing out popsicles to people. And yeah, wow, it's just when I look back, it's just when you first moved to LA, you're just trying to figure things out. Mm-hmm. I met a lot of great people along the way, a lot of artists who inspired me, because when I saw their grind, I was like, wow, nothing is easy. Nothing comes easy. Mm-hmm. And if you need any proof, just look at the people around you who are grinding. Mm-hmm. And I think for me, when I moved to LA from the Bay Area, I was growing up, people always be like, have you always wanted to act? And yes, I think I did. Well, I did. Mm-hmm. But that's only because I didn't have any artists around me. I didn't know anything else. I grew up in a very immigrant, Chinatown-y type of environment. So the arts was more of a, maybe with other people too, it's more of a hobby thing. And right. If you think a little bit too hard on it, and they're like, what are you doing? Right, like, what are you doing?
Right. They want to keep you on the straight and narrow.
They want to keep you on what's tried and proven to be true, mm-hmm. Especially when you're coming from, these immigrants, they're coming from a third world country. They're not going to come to America and try to, pursue something that's so unstable or, just up in the air, whimsical, right? But I think I've always been a very sensitive spirit. And both my parents worked a lot. They had to run their own stores and stuff. So the TV pretty much raised me and my brother. Mm-hmm. And when I saw, all these stories on the screen, in my mind as a child, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Well, I'm not that smart, but I think I could, act this part out or whatever, right? So as a kid, you're thinking I could act, maybe. But luckily, when I finally moved to LA, I get to really explore mm-hmm. the other side of my creativity. And I realized, I didn't really just like acting. I like creating. Mm. And I've always been a writer. Even as a kid, I would write little kid stories. And so that was always my thing. But when you don't know anything about entertainment stuff, in your head, you're just thinking like, well, I'm not that smart, so I can't be a writer, you know? So I'm just gonna stick to maybe acting then. So, you know, so acting was my way into LA, but once I got to LA, I realized like, oh wait, hold on a second. And like I said, I was inspired by the artists around me.
Right.
And they were just speaking from a place of truth. And I was like, okay, well, I think I like expressing myself like that too. So if they can do it, you know, not that I'm trying to put myself at their level, but if they can, in a way, you know, express their art like that, maybe I can too.
Right.
You know, with some practice.
How long did it take you to realize that? So I know, you know, I've seen you in commercials, like nationally broadcast commercials, music videos to start, and all that. You know, so you've went through all these different avenues and arrived at what it seems like something that you truly enjoy.
Yeah. So like I said, when I first moved to LA, like acting was the way I kind of like got into the business, right? And took some acting classes, took some commercial classes. Shout out to Coach Mike at Hey, I Saw Your Commercial. He was the one commercial class I took. And he really, because, you know, with acting, people always think like, oh, it's such a deep thing, scene study, break it down. But Coach Mike was like, well, I teach commercials and it ain't that deep. It ain't that deep. I have 2 courses and you better get the hell out of my classes after this because you're supposed to be out in the world doing something. You're not supposed to be in class forever.
Take action.
So taking Coach Mike's class actually kind of made me expand it, like my, I guess, what I knew about the business. Okay. So that's how you saw me book commercials later on because you know, when you first moved to LA, you're like, oh, I want to act. I don't want to do commercials. I want to be in real stories and meaningful stories, right? But the business is, look, commercials, if you can book them, they pay great.
Right.
So book them. That's part of your, you know, and I got into commercials, I got into music videos. You know, I like to joke, not that it's true, but I like to joke is, you know, back in my video hoe days. Edit that out. That's fine. Back in my video days.
But it worked.
You know, that
it was a building block.
It was because I saw other artists who are not just actors. And in fact, what they were doing, like all these rappers, I was like, I kind of like what they're doing because they own their own business. They're owning, you know, we're here because of them. They wrote this song. Sometimes they're independent artists, so they are producing this music video to promote themselves. Right. So I really started to see this art thing from different angles and also from a business standpoint too. And I think that's when it gave me more confidence to be like, well, look at this artist. He didn't come out great right off the bat. He had to work on his craft and all that, and it just gave me a blueprint. Not that I thought I was great or naturally talented. I was like, you know what, maybe I can get somewhere if I just work at it, you know, work on my craft. Wow. And in the music video world, it's kind of expanded my mind more, and actually music was what got me into writing the script. Because
you also do music.
Yeah. It's more of a hobby. Hobby for now. But I was, you know, as a young girl going through LA, you experience a lot of things that it starts to accumulate in you, you know? Especially because I'm from the Bay Area, come from an Asian family. We're already kind of stoic. I don't really talk about my problems to people. But eventually you get to a point in your life where you have so many feelings built up and you need to express it. So lucky for me, because I worked in the music video world, I have artist friends. I've seen the way they express themselves. It kind of taught me how to make an outlet for myself. So I actually started writing the outline for Takeout Girl first. And then writing that outline just opened a flood.
Before music?
Yeah, before music. Okay. It kind of, it opened something in me. Opened something in my heart. And I did the outline. I started working on the first draft of the screenplay, and then I just wanted to write music because it was just so much more direct. Right. Instead of writing the whole screenplay about how you feel and what you've been through, it's so much easier to write a 16. You know what I'm saying? Just get straight to the point. Yeah. So that was more attractive to me. Although I was gonna finish the script, music was just more of an immediate venting. Okay. Okay. Wow.
So music, film, production, commercials to start, transplant from the Bay Area, I guess you could say, but still a California native.
West Coast.
West Coast. What would you say to what you've had to sacrifice since coming here? So you haven't been with your family. Did you move here alone?
Yeah, I moved here alone.
Yeah, so you moved here alone. A lot of people, we were just talking off camera, and a lot of people focus so much on the end state of a lot of people. Like, they've reached success. Let me go buy their course, or let me go follow exactly what they did. Rather than taking an approach of, they're on their way and they're doing these things, how can that fit into what I'm trying to do? Or they have reached success, whatever that means to them. I know we talked about, like, whatever it means to you, because success for you is different from success to me. And that's for everybody. Anyways, say all that to say, what did you have to sacrifice since being on this journey here in Los Angeles?
When I was going through my, I guess what you say, sacrifice when I was young, it didn't register to me then, but now that I'm older, I realize that some of the stress or sadness that I have is being away from family.
That's a big deal.
Let me dab. Don't, edit this part out. Just kidding. No. Keep it in.
Yeah.
And I think as I got older, the things I was unhappy about is being away from family.
Yeah.
But it didn't register to me then, because coming from an immigrant family, we had no balance. It was all about work.
Yeah.
So I'm in LA for work, right? So I was doing what my family's been teaching me for so long, working for your dreams or whatever you want to work, right? And then, and then as I got older, I just kind of realized, like, man, like, that's not really the way to live. There's so much more to life than just working your ass off. Am I allowed to swear on this?
Hey, it's fine.
Working your ass off. And, but I didn't have a balance for a long time. And a lot of the more successful artists that I've hung around, they also didn't have a balance. So to me, it was normal. They were all workaholics for their dreams, though. Not for somebody else. They're working for their own dreams, but all workaholics. I didn't see any balance for a very long time. So the prices that I was paying, I didn't realize I was paying it till later. And all these years passed, and I realized, dang, all this time I've been away from my mom, my dad. Of course, I could call them, but when you're going through what you're going through mentally sometimes, I didn't want to call them if I didn't have any good news. I didn't have good news for many years. Right. So, and coming from an Asian family, I always want to know, how you doing? How was that job? Did it pay you well? Well, what if I don't have no good news like that? Then I don't, it's like I miss my family. But I don't have any good news to tell them, and I don't want to make them sad. I don't want them to worry about me. So I just didn't call them, or I didn't be in touch with them as much as I should have in my earlier years because of that.
See, I'm glad you brought that up. Balance. Balance and the sacrifice of being away from family, all for the sake of you trying to get to your end goal. Whether you know what that is or not, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you're just like, hey, I want to get to somewhere in the future where I feel more comfortable. But balance is something that, especially in the U.S., a lot of folks do not understand is a very important part to not, I'm not going to say reaching success, but I would say to your humanity.
Yes.
In general. And I think your humanity plays a huge part in your mental stability when you are successful.
Yeah.
The longevity of your success, whatever success means to you.
I'm so sorry. Do you have tissues?
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
When I was learning about this business, now when I was on commercials, on TV sets, doing background work, doing music videos, I see so many people, because it was, we're in the age of social media, right?
Oh yeah.
So a lot of people would be like, oh look, I'm on the set of this movie, and that's cool, very cool. But they make it seem bigger than it actually is.
Right.
Right? They make it seem on social media that they're almost like the co-star, but they're really the background.
Right.
For me, I like to, I thank goodness that I never got caught up in that glamorous thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even with that, the lifestyle that came with that, when you start rubbing shoulders with certain people, and guys, they'll be like, hey, you want to ride in my Lambo? And many girls will think like, oh, that's great. This guy has a Lambo and he wants me to hang out with him. I never got that twisted with my grind. Like a lot of girls would think what you have is hers too. Mm-hmm. Because whatever. For me, it was like, that's cool. That's your Lambo. Yeah. That's your reality, not mine. Yeah. Let me go back to my reality of ramen and try to figure it out on Pico,
so
right?
Yeah, you were trying to focus on...
Yeah, I never got it twisted. My North Star was always work, mm-hmm. right? And so many girls that I saw, and Hollywood is like that. Hollywood do chew up these girls and spit them out sometimes. Mm-hmm. And because it's that type of environment. Right. So I have to, say that thank God I was never caught up in that too much. I knew it was cool for a little bit. Like, it's cool, let me hang out with you, but other than that, I knew what I had to accomplish on my own, by my own bootstraps. Yep. And so social media, all these girls that portraying a certain life, these men portraying a certain lifestyle, sometimes I worry about, like, man, I know because I've seen it behind the scenes. I've seen it for what it really is. But for the people who aren't where we're at, for these young folks, how do they know that shit ain't real? It ain't that hyped. It's overhyped. It's an illusion. The
illusion all these is sold very...
City girl illusion.
Yeah. That's
the city girl illusion.
Yeah. And it's sold every day, 24 hours a day.
Yep. And thank goodness I didn't buy it. And I think that type of thinking got me, some parts of that thing got me here today, because I always knew I wanted to be like that guy that we're doing the music video for. Right. I didn't want to be the girl he was. I mean, it was great if he was a great guy, I would date him, but I didn't want to be the girl that just thought her, because there's the girls who their whole clout comes from who they're with. Right. And they'll brag about what he got her, oh, I know this, I know that. Right. That's cool, but when we take that away from you, what do you got? Yep. Girl, you know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. And people cling on to that clout or notoriety, especially now that social media is just everywhere all the time. Mm-hmm. We went kind of through your backstory. Mm-hmm. You're here now. How would you define where you're at now? And then we'll get into where you intend to go.
I can finally go home. Of course, home was always open to me. Of course, my parents would be like, they'll see me do my little grind, and they'll be like, Hedy, home is always open if you're going through troubles, when your parents love you, they're gonna be, luckily mine do, and they'll be like, you can crash at home, you can move back if LA's not working out for you. I've always had that. I'm very grateful, because not everybody got that, to have a home that they can go back to. Yes. Right? Yes. Not everybody got a mom and be like, baby, come home and sleep on the couch or whatever. They don't have that. For me, I was very lucky that I always had a safe space to go back to, which is the Bay Area. But I think I'm stubborn because I'm a Capricorn. Not that Zodiac is a real thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm superstitious because I'm Asian, and we have something similar to that. But I was stubborn because I felt that I put in so much work, and I need to make some headway, because I need to make all that PTSD worth something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so when we finished the movie, and the movie was acquired by 1091 Pictures, I felt like I could finally go home, like really go home, and go home in a way where, my parents aren't worrying about me, looking at me like, why are you so skinny? Do you have enough money to eat? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. I can go home with my head a little higher. It's like the prodigy son returning home.
So I didn't know any of that, which I'm glad that you were comfortable enough to share. Would you say that saying that you can go home now is you defining your success? Like, success for you is now.
For a very long time, yeah, that was my success, is to be able to go home like that. But then I realized, bills are still due. So the grind continues, Vic. Bills are still due, so the grind continues.
They're always due.
So I had a little break. The pandemic was a nice break for me. The world slowed down.
I feel like a lot of people have that same sentiment. I mean, some don't. Everybody's not in the same situation.
Right.
I completely agree.
The pandemic for my friends, I mean, the pandemic was tough on a lot of people who had, but I was the type of girl that didn't have much anyway. So when the pandemic happened, I was like, whatever. I was always, like DMX said, I was a seed that didn't need much to succeed. Or, you know what I'm saying? So the pandemic affected a lot of people, but for a group of people who was kind of living under their means already, we're like, oh, well, this feel like we just broke. Shoot.
Yeah, same thing. All right. So you're able to go home. Mm-hmm. Takeout Girl is headed to Hulu.
Headed to September 10th.
September 10th. I think we're going to have a viewing party here.
Just
I'm going to let you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're going to have a viewing party here.
Have you seen the movie yet?
I've only seen parts of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me put out. So this movie, I don't know if people seen the trailer. The trailer is freaking awesome. Shout out to 1091. Shout out to 1091.
Yeah.
The trailer, I like the trailer because it didn't give away the meat of the story. Like it doesn't give, even though it seems very exciting.
Yeah, when that happens.
Because sometimes when trailers, they show like all the best parts of the movie.
Much, yeah.
And you're like, wait, that was like literally the trailer showed all the best parts of the movie.
Yeah.
I have to say, 1091 did a great job because it didn't show the best parts of the movie. Right? It showed a lot of excitement. What I want people to know before they watch it is the trailer showed a lot of, the faster moments, but this movie is really a character study type of movie. It's a family drama, of course, when I was writing it, I was thinking about my mom, and at that point in my life, I was thinking that I understand now what she's been trying to teach me all these years about, having just working hard and a whole bunch of lessons. Just a whole bunch of lessons that I don't even know how to, quote her now. But when I was writing the outline, the scene started off with us in the restaurant, and she's cooking. The wok when in Chinese kitchens when they cook the wok, a lot of fire comes up from under the wok, so it's hot.
I have one. I can't cook with it though.
It's a chore. Like it's work. And in the movie, in my original, when I was thinking about the outline, she was cooking, and I'm working in the kitchen, doing other stuff, and I'm looking at her, and I feel like I ain't shit. I really feel like I ain't shit because, I think this is a dream of so many kids of wanting to help their parents, right? But life comes at you, like not everybody is the 1% who becomes on Forbes or whatever and can retire their whole entire family, right? Most of us are just grinding. We're grinding. We can barely take care of ourselves. Yep. So how the heck am I going to take care of my mom, right? And that was the mentality I was in when I was writing that outline. And I was thinking, and my character, this is also me, thinking, man, I ain't shit, and I'm grown. And so the movie, so the movie in a way, it was a sorry to my mom. Wow. Sorry that I couldn't be the daughter that you want me to be. Of course she'll tell you now, like, oh, so proud of you,
right.
Like, but Asian family were stoic, and not that I ever need anybody to say I'm proud of you, because growing up, this is something I didn't understand about the other kids, were getting good grades or trying to get good grades, that was supposed to be your job. My parents would be like, they go to their job, they pay the rent, they keep the roof over your head, and your job as a 7-year-old kid, go to school. Yep. Am I supposed to give you a cookie for doing your job and getting an A? Yeah. We didn't grow up like that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry to your mom.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, at that time, when I was starting to write that story, and I just felt like, because the older you get, also society's expectation, like, oh, you're not a teenager anymore. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your life? And
did you have the pressure of I know women have a proverbial clock.
Ooh.
Did you have that pressure as well from parents?
It wasn't a pressure from them. No.
Okay.
It was more of a discussion with myself and higher power, higher spirit, with the universe.
Yep.
When I got to a more darker time in my life, I didn't have, I'm not particularly athletic. I'm not a high energy person. Okay. I only got so much energy.
Yeah.
I like to sleep. I like my sleep. And in the day of social media, also, they make it seem like, oh, live your best life. Go get your cake and eat it too. That's cool. Sounds good if this was a fairy tale, but I knew that the path that I'm on, a lot of girls that I was working with, they also got pregnant, and that would take you away from the game a little bit. Not that you could still come back in the game, it just makes it harder, right? It just makes it harder. And for a person like me, who love dogs but don't have one because I don't want to pick up crap, like, I can't have it all, Vic. I can't have it all.
Right. So a lot of sacrifices along the way.
Yeah, it was a dark time. Not that I'm saying like I was right for thinking this way, but I was thinking like, if God had to ask me, Hedy, if you could only have one thing, career success or family, right? My future family, not my parents, future family. Which one would you pick? And at that time, I told myself, I can't have it all, so I'm gonna go with career. So at a younger age, I've already kind of, for sake of my legacy of future family, for the sake of getting something that I thought was real right now, something I've been grinding for so long. And if I can't have it all, then that's what I have to pick.
It's a huge decision to make, and a huge, some will say, you can call it a sacrifice, you can call it whatever you want, but that's a huge decision to make, especially at such a young age, but having the foresight to say, I won't stop until I get to this point. Right,
because I have some things to do. And of course, if I've been in love and all that. I've thought about wanting kids and stuff, but life is grimy. And you can't, for me, in my head, in my world, I hate saying this, but this is what I've been thinking for so long. I can't have it all. So with the little energy I have, what am I going to put it towards?
Wow. That's good. That's exactly, I say that all the time. I literally talk about that same thing all the time. That's why
we have an understanding then.
Yes. And our conversations are always great, no matter what they've been about. So that's why I'm glad you're here.
Well, thank you for having me.
If you were to see yourself, look at yourself in the future, what does Hedy in the future look like? Is she producing? Is she directing? Is she just supporting her family back in San Francisco, Bay Area?
So my dad is a real OG. They don't need my help. In my, in every daughter's mind, you're like, I want to help you, but my dad, like, I got this. My dad, real, what I'm saying? And many of the characters in Takeout Girl, I base it on real people.
Yep.
I base it on real people around me in LA.
Which was controversial.
Lauren, who plays Sarah, my older brother, of course it's based on Lauren himself because he grew up in the Pueblos in LA. But him being in the storm as my brother is inspired by my real older brother, and so, but yeah, no, my family, my dad's a G. They good. I just want to give him more. It's funny because when I was doing Takeout Girl, it was so hard. So many pitfalls, so many losses along the way that I just told myself, like, man, if I could just get this movie off, it'd probably be the first and last thing I'm ever going to do. And I'll be happy with that.
Wow.
Right? For many, and then the time after that, when it was finally finished, people be like, oh, that's great, you finished it, you want to do more? And I'm like, hell the fuck no. I don't want to do more. Because I was hurting. Right. I was still hurting. now Mia, who plays Crystal in the movie, she said, "Oh, you're so different now." And I'm like, "Well, how so?" She said, "You have an interest to wanting to produce and keep writing." And so yeah, I am helping my friends develop their storylines, helping them pitch, getting, if I can't take them to somewhere myself, I'll take them to somebody who could take their project to somewhere. And I hope to bring more stories, stories of my friends around me. And the great thing about my circle is it's not just Asian American stories. I have stories, shout out to my friend Justin, he's from South Carolina, and we have a Gullah thriller. It's a thriller story. It's based on the Gullah folklore of the Buhag and stuff. So like I want to bring that to the forefront,
Right. And
I hope the business, we all work in Hollywood. We work in packs. We work in teams. Sometimes the teams, kids, I'm gonna get real with you. This world, it's not Disneyland, and in Hollywood, just like in the city of LA, things are segregated at times.
Yep.
Or many times. I don't want to speak too much on it, but
many
times. And I feel like me and my friends, we're showing a different way. We're showing a different way where I don't, because there's Asian studios, whatever, and they might want more Asian American stories or whatever, but I don't just got those stories. I want to bring my friends' stories over, that are more of his experience, the Black experience in America, whatever. And I hope Takeout Girl is an example of what we can achieve in solidarity. And if you look at the photos we just took on the red carpet for Dances with Films, you see all colors of the rainbow.
Yep.
But it wasn't a gimmick. It was it came from a real place.
And that's something a lot of people sometimes don't understand is, and I say it all the time to folks who I know or interact with is, I don't get into politics about it. I don't get into any of the other minutia, but growing up partially in Compton, partially in Inglewood, and then going to school in Torrance and going to school at Loyola Marymount, which is Marina Del Rey, Westchester area, and then joining the military and then traveling all around the world. Growing up in LA is unique because you have access to folks who are in extreme poverty and ultra wealth.
Yes.
And you can drive down Crenshaw and see every single aspect of LA, which trickles into, other parts of Southern California and California in general. But that unique aspect should be a catalyst for people working together, right?
Yeah.
Color aside,
right.
We all have certain experiences. I can talk to anyone, whether they align with what I think or not, just because there is always going to be that one thing that connects us.
Right.
So if we can tug on that string a little bit more, then I think, we'll all be better for it. But,
I agree.
And we've talked about that plenty of times.
Yeah. And I forget which rapper from the Bay said this. He did the song Government Money. Was it Lil Blood? He was saying, not everybody my color is my kind. Not everybody my kind is my color.
This is the honest to God truth.
Yes.
Yeah. I can dive into that, but this isn't
you
my
gotta catch part two. Catch part two.
So it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I do want to revisit where you are.
I would love to come back.
Soon, and see what you're up to. Even if it's just to have another conversation, see what people have pinged each of us on, or if there's questions that come up, or we want to dive into some of the things that we've been into. But yeah, go ahead and tell everyone how they can find you, what's coming up, and all that. And
man, I have a lot of things I would love to come up and get green light for, but I only have one social media because I don't really like social media like that. I have one social media. It's on IG, and it's at Juliet Must Die, all one word. And people be like, "Where you get that name? That sounds so morbid." From the movie Romeo Must Die with Jet Li and Aaliyah. That story took place in the Bay. Know your history. Anyways, Juliet Must Die is me on IG, and the IG for the film is Takeout Girl feature film. So
Okay.
you find us there.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. And we will see you guys again shortly. Thank you so much for listening. New episodes for the 83K dropping every Friday, and I can't wait to hear what you think. Cheers.